I am live and I have set everything up, hopefully. I'm just going to see if I can watch myself. Oh, that sounds dreadful, doesn't it? See if I can see myself on my phone, just so that I know what. Oh, there we go. Yes. So then I can actually see where the camera is, although there is always a bit of a time lag, but hey, we'll get there. So, I hope that you are all okay. Can't believe it's March already. That's all quite astonishing. Um, However, today, because obviously March, it's all things baby mice. Thanks to everybody who has put in a request for a baby mouse, either with a dummy or with alphabet blocks. So all that is, well, I've now just been processing all the orders now and I can make a start. But tonight I thought I would make one of the a wee baby guinea pig inspired by the baby mice and the squeak show mice. So I'm kind of halfway there. Do you know, this only came to me in sort of like 2 minutes ago. So I'm not exactly massively prepared, but I'll do my very best. And it would be lovely to hear from you guys as well. It's just very strange when I'm sitting here on my own all day and I'm not really talking to anybody apart from a few email exchanges and whatnot. And then I get to sort of just explode and just, just blether at you just non-stop. Um, Gosh, the camera is actually, it seems to be, there seems to be quite a time lag, but I'll do my best. Anyway, right, so here we go. Can you hear me all right? I can't actually read comments, or can I? Let's see if I can read comments. Oh, hello, we have Lorna and Anne-Marie. Hello, and happy birthday to Anne-Marie as well. And we've got MJ as well from San Diego. Yay. Excellent. Lovely to see you. That's me just looking at my phone, so I won't be able to do that very often, but I'll do my best. Right. Baby guinea pigs. I don't know. Have I ever made a guinea pig yet on one of these live demonstrations? I'm not entirely sure that I have. Anyway, I have 9 grams of clay. Oh, I'm sorry, my arm is getting in the way of the camera, isn't it? I'll do my best to remember that. Right, I have 9 grams of white clay, which I now need to condition, which is just with my little roller. And of course, the white is just showing up every single bit of flob that there may be. It's always the way, I have to say. Doesn't matter how often I wash my hands, but hey, it's just part of the fun. Do you know, it's very, very strange because the squeak show, I'm loving it. I really am. But it's very strange doing so many wee creatures, mice, of the same design. I've never really done, creatures on this scale before. And when I say scale, I mean numbers, not size, of course. So yes, I'm really feeling the need to kind of branch out a wee bit. So I'm looking forward to this month and doing some baby related creatures as well. So I would very much appreciate any thoughts or ideas you may have as well. I've got obviously, well, the wee creatures have got minds of their own, as we know. But it's always lovely to hear ideas, and I will see if I can incorporate them and get a few stuck into the shop at various points over the course of the month. And of course, I'm also planning for next month as well, and months after that. I mean, I've just been working out designs for June and September, which I'm really excited about. Can't wait to show you those ones. Yeah, so like, gosh, this whole year is just disappearing at a great rate of knots. It's quite astonishing, really. So here we go. So I'm now just rolling it into a wee ball. And of course, this is where I have to now just take off all the flob. Pigs, because it's a sitting one. He'll be holding a dummy. But the sitting ones take 9 grams of clay, and the standing up ones are 10 grams. Don't ask me why. That's just the way it goes. For some reason, if I do 10 grams and they're sitting down, it just looks a wee bit too, I don't know, just look a bit chubby. So this is my way I don't know. It really does help though having a standard quantity of clay for each of the designs, because it does mean that they're all going to be roughly more or less the same size. Oh sorry, I've just realised that I can't put my hand across the screen, or if I do, you're just going to get a big wodge of arm in front of you, which is no good whatsoever. Anyway, what was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something. No, it's completely gone. Don't know where it is. Oh well. Aye. It's just, yeah, I'm just, yeah, going a wee bit doolally. So I think just before I get completely started in on this wee chap, I'm going to give him a few wee wipes with the Morrison's wet wipes, baby wipes, and because these are obviously alcohol free, so because if it's alcohol it'll interact with the clay, so don't do that. You don't want to do that. Not good, basically. And the good thing about, or the cute thing about babies, oh, that's what I was going to do. Yes, was I going to say that? Yes, I want to do more creatures, different creatures, and just, I think maybe next year. Oh, that, yes. So, oh, gosh, squirrel. Yeah, because I've been doing so many of one design each month, because this is the third month. Can you believe it already? Yeah, I can see next year then I might be just going completely and just doing one-offs, more or less, because there's nothing better than, you know, coming up with new designs all the time. I mean, there's still so many ideas, so many to do, and no, so little time. We live in an abundant universe, and there's oodles of time, if you believe there is. So, yeah, it'll be. Oh yes, it's just a different way of working this year. That's all. It's very strange, and having to sort of plan so far ahead as well, which is, it's another interesting discipline for me. Gosh, right, I'm going to just leave him to sit there for a wee minute. Been neglecting all your comments. Who else have we got? Jacqueline's on the call, excellent, and we have Christy from Los Angeles. I love them. Hello Sarah, Tracy's here, and Sally Ann, wonderful. Melanie, you've remembered for the second week. Be careful, it's going to become a habit. And Pamela we have as well. Hello Pamela, well, you might be very interested in this wee chat then, that's all I'll say. And Vicky is here saying good morning. Well, yes, it's sort of morning, isn't it? We'll go with that. So, what can I tell you about guinea pigs sitting down? It's important to get the shape of the head right, clearly. And they have a slightly bigger head, and this is actually one of the reasons why I use 9 grams of clay instead of 10 grams for the standing up guinea pigs. And bunnies, actually. It's the same weight of clay for bunnies and guinea pigs. So, here we go. So you see, I'm kind of just keeping an eye on the overall shape of, you know, so that, I don't know whether you can see it from there, but basically his head needs to kind of come out in a triangle. That's, he's kind of like a pyramid shape, basically. But all the time that he's in proportion, that the shoulders are sloping down, that there's not, you know, the eye sockets are nice and even on either side, that the nose isn't sticking out too far. I mean, it's become second nature to me now, but and actually it's really interesting just sort of talking through the process, which is why you're getting the whole squirrel moment and disjointed, because my conscious brain is kind of occasionally checking in and going, what is it I'm doing exactly? Excuse, oh, I didn't know I did that. Wow. You know, because the hands just take over. The brain just takes over. It's really strange. And rather fun, actually. Right, okay, so that's the basic shape done. Now, just make sure there's actually a wee bit of an air pocket in his haunch. So I'll just clear that to one side. That's fine. Right, and now he's going to be a sparkly It's plain white clay, and I'm going to give him a sparkly brown coat. So this is made with the glitter white clay. Actually, some of the Valentine rose guinea pigs I made with this clay for the markings. That's one thing actually. It's a very ecologically sound practice. Is working with clay, or the way that I do anyway. There's no clay that's ever wasted. So even the scrap clay will get mixed up, blended, and put in for moles. And Anne-Marie, I saw that you said you need 2 little moles with blankets for your 2 girls, right? Well, that's I have yet to make, or I have still to make, or I need to make. Perhaps that's more like it. I need to make a mole cane, so maybe that'll be the subject of one of my next demonstrations. I'm going to be doing, like, you've probably figured out that I am doing these Brew and a Blethers once a fortnight, and every other fortnight, every other one is going to be a demonstration, unless I feel the urge to do a different one. We'll see. Anyway, I'm now cutting out a circle for the back pattern. Marking. See, sometimes if I just kind of let my brain just sort of wander off for a second, it's amazing what comes out. Anyway, what I'm doing, I'm not stretching out the clay for the marking because that means I can blend it better, but I'm actually thinning the clay for the eye markings. And clay is really quite something actually, because polymer clay is quite sticky, and there comes a point when you're stretching it, and I'm like, this is really delicate stuff, and you can see I've got a wee bit of a tear there, so I won't cut in there. But it almost feels like leather. In fact, it feels like the new Leather Effect Fimo. You know, I made those snails. Why haven't I made more snails again? I need to make more snails. Anyway, gosh, there's just so many things I want to do. And, you know, I'm kind of like, but I've got 50 baby mice to make. Anyway, enough of that. This is using a Kemper. These cutters are brilliant, I have to say. They're really good, sturdy, solid metal ones. They're super. And I've got the tiny ones as well, which I use a lot too, but that's a medium size. I think I've got pretty much every single shape and size of the Kemper cutters. They're really good. And if anybody wants full, more details of any of the tools that I use or anything, let me know. So now what I'm doing, having cut it out, I'm now just teasing out the eye markings again a little bit. I just want it as thin as possible so that I can blend them onto the face of the guinea pig. Because you don't want, the last thing you want is markings sort of standing proud. Now, some people use paint with polymer clay. I never have. I've never felt the urge or the inclination to do it. I just think there's so much you can do with clay itself. It's like painting with clay. You know, you can mix up the colours, you can blend them, you can do canes, Millefiori canes. You can do so much, and the colours are so much richer when you actually use the clay itself. But the trick with that then is to make sure that the clay is blended in, so like a dot that's been placed on top and is just standing out proud. So that's why for the eye markings particularly, I want to have them as thin as possible. And you've got to watch the clay at this stage, because when it's that thin it can tear very easily. And I'm just patting it down. There we go. Oh. And I use this, my clay shaper. I have been through 2 or 3 of these, not that many, and you can see that I use masking tape to build it up, because the clay itself reacts with the coating for the actual I don't know what you call it, the shaft, that bit, that part. That's why, because my fingers are there and they're always covered in clay, that means that I can it doesn't it just gives me a good grip basically. Squirrel. Do you know? Anyway, and I'm using the metal part because this is a wonderful way of blending in the clay and making it as flat and as shaped to the head as possible. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, I've not done quite to that same extent with the back markings because it actually helps form a little bit of the back as well. So it doesn't need to be completely flat because the actual, I mean, this is very thin. I don't know. It must be no more than a millimetre, maybe a little bit less. But if it's shaped in properly, it sort of provides a bit of a step, which is part of the back. You know, it sort of forms part of the anatomy, part of the spine, part of the body. But I still need to pull it out on either side. You should, you know, if you play with clay and if you're interested, it's a good exercise, I think, just to see how far, what happens to clay when you stretch it and when you just tease it. You know, how far can you take it before it breaks? What clay works best for doing it? Certainly the glittery clay is not quite as stretchy as some of the other clay, so I'm being careful with this, shall we say? But some clay you can stretch it all the way out. It's really quite something. Right, okay. So I'm kind of forming a, if you can see that shape, it's no longer a circle, basically. So this is to go round the back of the guinea pig and then down to the side of each leg. There we go. Now, flob. So much flob. Gets everywhere. Right, so now he's got a skirt. He has a guinea pig skirt. So what I'm going to do is just tuck it under, and this is just very lightly stretching it again so that there's an edge which goes underneath the bottom, the guinea pig's bottom. And then you need to trim it. And I'll just use my scalpel and just as smooth a line as you can, basically. And I'll just neaten it up because I know that they sit on their bums and you don't really see the bums, but I want to be, you know, a little bit neat anyway. The bottoms do tend to pick up flob because they're on the bottom of my work surface. And whilst I do keep them clean, I'm not quite as scrupulous about their bottoms as I am. That sounds horrible, sorry. Right. Here we go. So, and obviously the act of sitting actually helps shape the bottom as well and blends it in. Now this is what I was talking about for incorporating the markings with the back itself. So I'm just smoothing in the line, you know, the edge of the markings. Just a little bit, not, and I don't know whether you can see that, but there's a slight, you can see how it's a sort of a slight bump at the end, and that kind of adds to the guinea pig bum shape. So it's just about using the clay as best you can, you know, and making it work with you, or not even making it, but working with it so that it gives the best effect, or the effect that you want. And then just a little spruce up again. And a little reshape, because no matter how little I try and handle them, each one, it will, and it's warm in here tonight. Do you know I've been here for over a year? I hadn't actually twigged, but it was the beginning of February last year that I moved in. And here we are, it's the beginning of March, or like even the second week of March, which is even scarier. Anyway, so there we go. Now, for sitting guinea pigs, I just give them a bit of they have a bum cleft, okay? And I do this is another fantastic tool, don't know what you call it, but I measure it up between the markings, come down to the bottom of his bum, and then just rock it. And I'll use the tapered edge because that gives a sort of a nice tapered effect. And I can slightly roll it from side to side and then smooth off the bum cleft. And there he's got a little guinea pig bum. It's so cute. Right, now I need to put the eyes on. Now, because it's a baby, babies are all foreheads and low eyes. So I don't know whether you're. I'm sorry, I'm not catching up. I'm not keeping up with all your comments. But I don't know whether my chat is behind or ahead. It must be quite. It must be out of sync a little bit as far as the video goes. What I'm seeing on my phone, which I presume is what you're seeing as you're watching it from home or wherever you are, is quite a bit behind, like at least maybe 30 seconds or so. Anyway, back to babies. So, yes, if you want to get a really sort of a baby-like effect with a wee creature, then you need to make the eyes a bit lower than they would normally be. Just a little bit, not much, because they're all about the foreheads, basically. Right, so that's the eye holes measured. Here are my beads, my eye beads. And this is where I do my usual peering down to get the right level. I don't know whether my head's in the way here again, but this is me just trying to get the right sizes of beads. Make sure that they match up. Oh, lucky guess. Fantastic. Do you like it when that happens? Okay, so now just using my bent nose pliers or tweezers, I should say, it's just much easier to see where the eye hole, the little mark that I've made, where they go. And of course, these are beads. These are not no hole beads. These have a hole in the middle, but because I grip it at the side, so it's actually the tweezers are holding the hole of the bead, and then by the time it gets pushed in, you can't see the hole. So it just makes life a little bit easier, really, to do that. And I just need my clay shaper, and that pushes in the eye. I just love the way they come to life when their eyes are poked in, which again sounds horrible as well. But there we go. Right, and I'll just put these beads away because I am so paranoid about these beads. There was a time, I think I've done it about twice in the 12 years I've been doing this. There was a time when they just cowped and went everywhere. It was a nightmare. It was horrible and very depressing, and trying to pick them all up and crawl about on what is effectively a very mucky floor, that was not fun. That was not fun at all. Anyway, right, I was just rolling out the clay there for paws and ears. I'm actually just about running out of this clay. I use a special kind of clay. I use a different kind of clay for the guinea pigs' paws and ears, and as I do for the mice. So this is, it's still female professional, and it is doll art, and it's cameo colour, whereas the mice clay that I use, I think is called Rose. I don't have it here at the moment, but just to show you the difference between the two, it's very subtle. But that's the mouse clay, and that's the guinea pig clay. So you can see that the guinea pig clay is slightly darker, not by much. I don't know whether you can even see that there. However, that's just what I've, when I discovered the doll art, I tried both colours, and it just seemed to work better to have the cameo for the guinea pigs and the rose for the mice. Right. However, I'm going to have to open, that's all I've got left of this packet, my first packet. So I'll need to get some more soon. Right, I'm now going to do the nose. And I use a diamond shape cutter for this. And this is quite, you've got to be just quite, what's the word? confident. You've just got to go for it because there's no second do's. If you do a second do, you have to just start again, basically. So I've just cut and lifted. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of pushing in and very, very, very slightly lifting up the flap. And then I'm just finishing off the job with this. It's another helpful tool, which I have no idea what the name is. I think that this actually might be, it's either a clay tool or it's a dental tool. I'm not sure which. I think actually I prefer the idea of it being a clay shaper. So I've now just lifted his nose a wee bit because now he gets just a little bit of clay, and this is usually a bit of trial and error because I've got to get the right shape. So it's got to be kind of a thin at the ends, fatter in the middle. That's going to be too much, I think. I mean, we're talking tiny, tiny amounts of clay here. And then just rolling it slightly so that the edges, put one side into one nostril and continue it along to the other side. There we go. That's not bad. That's not too bad. And then a bit of tidying up. Needs to blow his nose. And of course there's flob. More flob. It's Flob City here. I really don't know where it comes from. You know, the amount of times that I wash my hands every day. It's, you know, my hands because of it. Anyway. Some nostrils. And it's just pushing in with the edge of this and then the edge of the tool, I should say. There we go. And that's quite a guinea pig kind of a nose there. Oh, do you know? I'm sure I'm sort of wiping off the flob and then the wet wipe, and then I wipe it back on again. It's the way it goes. Right, so he's coming along. So now I need, and again, it's just sort of the same again, but not as far. And then I use the scalpel to do this. So I create the, what do you call it, the nose cleft. Now I would normally be peering at this, you know, like right up close over my glasses. I'm very short-sighted, you see, but I can see perfectly at about 2 inches from my eyes. So most of the time I'm kind of working, peering over the top of my glasses. But in the interest of you being able to see what I'm doing, more or less, I'm doing this with my glasses. Oh my goodness. Right, so there we go. This is, again, just keeping him neat and tidy and making sure that his chin hasn't been deformed at all. Yeah. There we go. Now, I'm just keeping an eye on the time actually. It's just coming up to 1:30. We'll get as much done as I can. I'm going to make his paws now. I mean, look at them. They're quite cute when they're like this at this stage. It's very strange. So I'm just shaping the back paws first of all. And that's using, yeah, I use different cutters depending on what needs to be done. So although it's just a way of measuring the right amount of clay, that's basically all it does. But it's a very accurate way of doing it, and it just takes all the guesswork out of it. So I've shaped his back paws. I'm just now going to add on some of that medium extender, which is just so good. It's really good for fixing raw clay to raw clay. It needs heat to cure, so that's why. And I'm just roughening up the edges a bit so that it gets a better key. The surface is a bit better. And then once it's all curing, once the whole guinea pig is curing in the oven, then it will it forms a really strong bond. I very rarely have paw accidents or ear accidents these days, actually, because I put the ears on with this clay stuff as well. Well, it's not clay, but you know what I mean. The medium extender. I don't know how it works, but it really does make a good job. So now I'm just making sure that the paws look as though they're properly grounded. And then toes. Toes. There we go. And actually the weight of the scalpel doing that, and I'm cutting it with the blunt end of the scalpel, that helps to form the, curl the toes over and make them more toe-like, which works very well. And now I usually put on the ears next. So I'm kind of rolling them into a cone or a teardrop shape just now, and then pressing it flat, and you'll see it's now a flat teardrop. And same again with the other ear. So I want to make sure that they're roughly the same size, same shape, give or take. Get rid of the flob, of course. And then I use a slightly bigger diamond because it gives a smoother. I'm just nudging to create the fold in the ears. So I'm using it. It's a rounder point apex than the smaller. That one, that's too sharp. It'll make too sharp an edge. So yeah, now I'll just get that little bit of muck. There we go. So that's the ears. So they actually look quite heart-like. And now just need to again roughen the edge, put a little bit of the clay extender or the medium extender. I should probably find out one day why it works. Maybe it's because it cures with heat. And then this is the fun bit, because this is where the ears go on all at once, and then it's just like, oh, it's a guinea pig. Hello. Lovely to meet you. And ear placement's really important, actually. And again, you want to kind of preserve more of the forehead because it's a baby. See? It's a guinea pig. It's a guinea pig. Haha. Right. Actually, yes, I think if you're okay hanging on and waiting, I will very nearly finish this off. There'll be some more tidying up, clearing up and all the rest of it in the morning, but you'll be able to see more or less the finished guinea pig. So these are the paws that I'm doing, the front paws now. And it's very similar to the ears, except I'm wanting them to be slightly, longer, because they're his arms and his paws. So that's fine. Now, this is the dummy. Do you know, did I tell you? I think I did. I found them on, I think it was AliExpress, which is a great web. And it was just, I couldn't get these colours anywhere. They were just so lovely. Right, I'm using some white PVA glue for this, because I found it's the best thing for securing accessories. So just a little dab on the contact points. I use Sobo glue, which I think came in from America. And I sort of top it up every now and again. So I've been sort of on the same bottle of glue for God knows how long. It's all very sticky just now. This is how, I use cocktail sticks to put it on, and that's the build-up of glue. Right, and then just a wee dab of liquid clay for the arms, and then a little bit of, the Sobo, the PVA glue. And because it's quite old now, it's quite tacky, so it dries really quickly. So it's a case of just, you need to be quick, and you need to just be confident, I think, of what you're doing. There we go. And then just blend in the And this is where he's a wee boy. He really is. He's got such a cute little expression. And it's always lovely just to sort of look back or take a, because it's the same as when you're drawing, I believe, and I wouldn't know about that because I cannot draw for toffee. But you've really got to just keep looking at the whole and not just at the little part that you're working on. And that's when I start going, yay, look at him, he's so cute. Right, so I just need to give him his paw hands. No, what are they called? Fingers? Do guinea pigs have fingers? I don't know. And again, I'm using the blunt edge of the, oh, there you go. It's just the way they sort of at the end, they kind of rush along. And now it's time to sign him. So this is, I've got a dag end of one of my signature canes, rolled down very, very slow, very small. And I'll trim off just a tiny little slice. Turn him upside down on his bum. There we go. And that's it. And this is where I'll give his bum a bit of a tidy up. No point in doing it before that because he's just all over the clay work surface. So one final, is it a him? Are you a him or are you her? I don't know. We don't do gender stereotypes here. He knows, or she knows. I think I've been calling him all the way through. However, there we go. We have a little guinea pig. There we go. Thank you very much for joining me. I will catch up now with all your comments, but I will let you all go home and I shall see you in the group tomorrow. But thank you very much for coming along, and I'm sorry I've not been able to follow all your comments, but I'll get back to them now. Okay, I shall see you soon. Take care. Bye.